My name is Sen Elias. I'm the owner of Crescent City Conjure, and today I wanted to explain some aspects of Rootwork. Hoodoo, Rootwork, and Conjure are three names that are usually used exchangeably to describe African American folk magic, but they are in fact three different aspects that reside under the same umbrella. Rootwork is the specific techniques of how to manipulate, work with, communicate with the spirit that resides in natural objects like roots, bones, stones, anything that grows. Root work also entails things that aren't roots at all. So some things are given power or energy through the use of that object. For instance, dollar bills or money contain the spirit of exchange and prosperity or lack, depending on how you approach it. Keys can open doors, and because of their ability to open physical doors, they can also open spiritual doors. The idea of root work is based in the concept of animism. This is an idea that the African American culture shares with the Native American culture, that all living things have a spirit or a consciousness. Because of this indwelling spirit or consciousness, any living thing can exude a certain amount of will upon the earth. In growing its roots into the soil moves. As growing its leaves into the sky, the animals react. These are things that life interacts with each other with in the world. So if we're talking about roots, like the devil's shoestring, which is known to cause luck, imagine tying the devil's shoestrings up so that he trips. The way that we would use it is by taking a stick, wrapping our first, last name, date of birth, and any personal concerns around that stick and carrying it in our left pocket so that all things that may work against us can be tripped up. This is Abre Camino. Abre Camino is a road opening herb. It has the spirit of being able to cause new opportunities, increase travel, and new beginnings. In the same way, this is an alligator's paw. It's not a root or an herb, but it has a spirit all the same. This animal lived its life, and its life is still contained in the object that's connected to it. Alligator's foot is good for good luck and gambling. This is Hydron root. It is a natural object that can be found in the morning glory plant, and it is for overcoming obstacles, probably one of the most famous and popular roots in hoodoo practice. Root work is how we manipulate those roots, how we speak to the spirits and what rituals are performed over these objects in order to elevate that spirit. And then how we treat it. Is it ground? Is it infused in oil? Is it infused in water as spiritual bath? And then we can make oils with it, or we can make gree-grees with it, or we can make powders with it. When it comes to working with the roots, everything happens as an exchange. So if we're going to harvest it, then we need to pay for it. We typically pay for it with 3 pennies and tobacco smoke. If we're going to ground it down or use it for any other recipe, then we're also going to pay for it with prayers and rituals. The honor and respect that we show for every plant, root, or herb, or any natural object that we use in our work begins at the very beginning. So the way that we harvest it is in a spiritual manner. And once again, we need to pay for everything. Hoodoo, Conjure, and root work is based in the idea of exchange with our ancestors, exchange with our spirits, giving something to get something. So when it comes to a plant, you want to make sure to harvest it or cut it somewhere where it's going to grow back. It's really simple. So the main stock of the plant is here. If you cut this off, the plant will die, right? It's the base of its root system. The root system separates here. So these are the two sides of its root system that it's currently feeding, and it breaks down even further here. So we can cut any one of these 3, 1, 2, 3, and the plant will grow back. It'll just redirect all of its nutrients into these 2. So I think we're going to collect this one right here. We'll take a moment to really try to feel the spirit that resides within the plant, close our eyes, quiet our conscious mind, and connect. We give thanks for the life that you have lived, and we understand that you are in fact living a life, that you have your own growth to do. And we give you thanks and honor for your sacrifice. After the plant has been cut, I usually put my finger over the wound or the lost limb and say another little prayer that the nutrients does come into the plant, that healing is quick and swift, and that any challenges that this harvesting may create for the life of the plant, that the plant can overcome that swiftly. All things in equal measure. Traditionally, we feed or offer the plant 3 pennies. These 3 pennies represent the world beneath us, the ground in which our ancestors are buried, the world that we stand on and interact with on a daily basis, and the world above us, the divine and celestial world itself. So we usually make the sign of the cross to acknowledge that something sacred and holy is happening, and then drop the 3 pennies at the base of the plant. Every root contains a spirit. When we're talking about root work, we aren't necessarily talking about the physical measures that we take to manipulate the root itself, i.e. turning it into a powder or an oil or a gree-gree. We're speaking about the invisible aspect, the root's spirit, the root's energy. But what is that and how does it feel? Conjuremen have the unique ability to feel the subtle energy that pulsates within living things. So the spirit of a root feels like water rushing through a pipe. So what we're doing is quieting our conscious mind, quieting our thinking mind, not approaching this root in a logical way necessarily, more in an emotional and intuitive way. Devil's shoestring, like we said before, has the ability to cause good luck. The root system itself is winding, like most roots, but unique in and of itself. They cross quite a bit. This crossing is all within this root, but it crosses up, because its spirit is positive, it's crossing up negative things. Damiana has a spirit for love, romance, companionship. Its spirit is more feminine in nature. It's a softer, less aggressive feel that it has within it. So we use this to promote positive things like relationships and partnerships. Abracamino, the #1 road opening herb. Its spirit it has a very unique spirit, and a very, I would say, very playful. In fact, what it does, it goes out and it finds ways that you've been standing in your own way, and it undoes those knots, which I think is a very unique and special spirit that it walks with. All things in Hoodoo, Rootwork, and Conjure are based on equal exchange. You got to give a little bit to get a little bit. So traditionally, the offerings that we give to the spirit of the plant after we've harvested it are tobacco and rum. So I'm going to show you really quickly how to offer the tobacco and the way that I was taught. And then I'm going to give you another suggestion about how you can do it, because this way may not be the way that you're comfortable with doing it. If you're not comfortable with doing it that way, I understand that a lot of people are afraid to put the cigar in their mouth. So just as long as you're giving it tobacco smoke, so just inhale the tobacco and blow it onto the root. As you can see, not as impressive, but still effective if necessary. But if you're going to call yourself doing this work, you might want to get over the fear of sticking a hot cigar in your mouth, because the more you give, the more you get. So start giving a little bit more. Today we talked about 4 main aspects of root work. We started off with explaining what is root work, and then we went into paying for the herbs and the roots that we collect, into talking about what are the spirits that reside in the plants, and then how to give those spirits offerings. If you want to know more, you can find me at 2402 Royal Street, which is the physical location, or at crescentcityconjure.us online. Until next time, guys, many blessings.